What's good, Raider Nation? Merry Christmas Eve. Thank you for joining us on this Christmas Eve morning. What's up? What's up? I don't know if you all are drinking with us today because it is early, but it's a holiday. So every time we say Christmas Eve, you know what to do.
Right?
Merry Christmas Eve.
Wait, am I drinking? Hold on. Is there Woodson whiskey in here?
Where's my
There
cup?
is.
Hold on. Okay, I didn't even know I was drinking. Surprise!
Surprise. You are having this morning is
Look what happens. One sip of Woodson whiskey and she plays the intro again.
Wow. Wow.
It's one of those
Okay.
mornings. Huh? It's one of those mornings.
Good
It's
morning.
not
We
food.
are drinking today as just coffee, hot cocoa with some Woodson whiskey. What about you, Omar? Good morning. Merry Christmas to you.
I don't have any Woodson whiskey, but I am having an Irish coffee, straight up out of B-Lot Irish coffee. So Bailey's, Jameson, coffee, boom.
Well, you don't have any Woodson whiskey yet. Put it that way.
Yeah,
You'll have some later.
Oh, it's on its way.
Right, exactly.
I'm looking forward to some of your
definitely getting into the groove of the day. You know, been in the holiday spirit. You know, waiting for this game tomorrow, which I know we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we are going to get to it. Remember, if you haven't already, light that torch, hit that like button. And we are happy to announce that we have finally hit 3,000 subs. So we are going to do a special celebrating 3,000 show on January 1st, celebrating all of you fans who support us. So tune in on January 1st, 11 a.m. We are going to be having some giveaways as well for appreciation of all of you. Merry Christmas, Travis. Happy holidays. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Merry Christmas, Travis.
So yeah, we are obviously going to talk about this matchup here tomorrow. That is most important. And I know that's all we want for Christmas is that W, right? That is it. But before we get to talking about that, I just want to celebrate something that happened in Raiders history. So let me just bring this up really quickly. Uh-oh. What's going on? What's that? Is that me?
YouTube is giving us feedback.
Oh, thank you, too. So here we go. On this day, 9 years ago, Charles Woodson became the only individual in NFL history to record 60 interceptions and 20 sacks in a career, with his 60th career interception in a 26-24 win over the Buffalo Bills. So let's celebrate that. What's that?
I said, I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. So I don't know who has the feedback. Someone has feedback, I'm hearing.
I think it's me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, yes, congratulations to Charles Woodson. What an epic achievement. We always want to start with a little holiday. I feel like that's some holiday cheer, right?
I mean, what can Woodson do? Hall of Famer, great Raider, make booze. Come on.
Right, that last part. I love it.
The simple fact that he made booze, does that make him the greatest Raider of all time?
I'll go with it.
We can argue it.
We'll go with it.
Argue it, especially drinking his booze.
Right?
I'll hella make that argument.
So let's just before we get into the X's and O's, let's celebrate some achievements that the Raiders have done this year, going into this kind of home stretch, if you will, of these last 3 games. We have the Raiders have only allowed 93 points since week 9, with interim head coach Antonio Pierce at the helm. The third fewest in the league over that span. So I mean that's an accomplishment, especially that, like, Mad Max talks about this all the time. The defense got a lot of heat. They weren't good enough. He took it personally. They stepped it up. So there you go. And in addition, the Raiders have also forced 11 takeaways since week 9, tied for the 8th most in the NFL over that span. What do we have to say about that?
That's huge. I mean, let's go with the cliche. Defense wins championships.
There you go.
And if you look at that list, look who's in that club. Outside of the Patriots, you got some good football teams on that list.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Always been known for a good defense. And I mean, it just, like I say, to me, that's a statement and it was almost as simple as going from an offensive-minded head coach to a defensive-minded head coach. Our coordinator stayed the same. The scheme stayed the same. It's just about, hey, what's the identity and what are we going to do this week? And that's what AP changed, So, I mean, I think it's great. I think I remember one of those games where we had 5 down linemen. I don't remember the last time I've seen that. And then we're kicking in DNs to play the tackle spot so that they could get penetration. I mean, they were doing all kinds of things. And I was like, man, it paid dividends. Look at where we are. So I love it. I love defense.
I love it. Great. I think it's just, at this point, the playoffs are looking a little bleak, but I think these kind of stats are great going into next, it's momentum that can hopefully carry on into next season and really just hopefully improve upon.
Yeah. I mean, how many years have we complained about not having any defense? A long time.
A lot.
I mean, the two biggest complaints and I'm going to say since Khalil Mack left was no defense and Carr. Like it seemed like those were the two biggest arguments and fights Raider fans were talking about. Well, Carr's gone, and now we got a defense showing up. I mean, one of those boxes is now, 2 of those boxes are checked. Now we just gotta, continue. And I hope this definitely, argues the case to keep AP. I've heard lots of people say, "Oh, we need to be stable, some stability." And
yeah,
I don't mind building a little stability around AP as the head coach.
Yeah, I agree with you, Omar. We have to keep going. We have to show the Raider way, and I think he's getting the team, their heart back to the Raider way as we know it, getting the fans back to as we know it too, as the Raider way. So we're on our path.
Yep.
Yeah, I will agree. I was kind of back and forth with AP. I was like, okay, let's see what he can do. When he first came out and gave the Compton speech and all that, yeah, it was exciting. It was fun. I'm not sure that was basing it off of what a head coach, how we should base hiring a head coach. However, I do like the culture change. I like the attitude. I believe him when he says it. And I wanted to see him play out the season. There's still 3 games left. But at this point, I think for me, like I've seen enough. Not like I have any decision on if he stays or not. But for me, I'd like to see him stay for mainly 2 reasons. Well, Omar, we'll say 3 reasons then. You made a good part, Omar. Look at the defense improvement. But then my 2 main reasons would be and to Mother Moon's point, consistency. I want to see consistency. And I think that's what we've asked for most as Raiders fans for the longest time. This turnover is not working. This constant turnover, head coach, GM, quarterbacks, and draft picks being brought in and lost. So consistency. But I think the main thing is the vibe, the locker room vibe, the team vibe. These guys show up, they play for him. It seems like they respect him. They bought into what he says, what it means to be a Raider. And he said this in his press conference: personality, swag, confidence, belief, winning, physicality, being nasty, non-apologetic, having heart. They've bought into that and they're performing. So I just feel like if you bring somebody else in, like what vibe is that going to bring? And to me, that part's too risky.
Yeah. I mean, in all of that with AP, I think, moving forward, the bigger burden to me is going to be on Champ Kelly.
Yeah.
Because the other argument we've all had outside of not having defense, quarterback or whatever, has been drafting talent.
Yeah.
We have notoriously blew first round picks. Notoriously. We're arguing. We're still trying to figure out that the last regime blow a first round pick on Tyree. Some people mid of the season had already called him a bust. From what I see, he's just coming along too slow.
Right.
I mean,
well, they switched him around too, right? That helped. They switched his position.
Yeah. But we forget that he didn't have an offseason. He was hurt. Yeah. He didn't have a training camp because he was injured. I mean, so there was a lot that plays into his slow development. But moving forward, though, we need Champ Kelly to hit on all cylinders. And
here's the thing. We don't know. Like, we've seen what Antonio Pierce has done so far through his first few games. Right. We don't really know what Champ's going to do. We don't really know. I mean, there's no way to gauge. So we really have to wait and see. And listen, at the end of the day, the draft is a crapshoot anyway. Nothing ever pans out the way one would think. It's very rare. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
It's a gamble. You know, I read Mark Davis saying, you know, he needs a football mind. He needs someone else that understands what good football looks like. And I'm like, I hope this is playing into your thought process and, you know, with Champ Kelly, because in my mind, that's supposed to be that guy, because he needs to understand what the team needs to succeed and get it. So, you know, outside of who the head coach is and, you know, and the rest of the coaching staff. So I was head scratching. I was wondering, okay, maybe he's thinking about a president because he doesn't want to make these decisions anymore. Maybe that was his way of punting. I don't know. We'll see. You know, or just admitting that he's made bad decisions, saying, hey, I need to bring in a football mind. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, please hurry and do it.
I want to speak to that in 1 second, but before we get there, thank you so much, Raider Nation News Today, for the $20 super chat. Merry Christmas, Raider Nation. Thank you for the Christmas gift, I guess we can say. We appreciate you.
Definitely appreciate it. What up,
yeah, I want to read this really quickly. Like I said, Omar, you kind of read where I was going. This Mark was quoted as saying, I don't have the ability that my father had in judging talent. So that's a missing piece to the puzzle. So to speak a solid football mind that isn't the GM or the head coach. And I think that's a piece that's probably going to be necessary somewhere down the line, like now. Bringing in somebody that understands football that's above the day-to-day work. Now, can I just say that I feel a little vindicated because I have felt kind of badly about talking poorly about how Mark Davis doesn't know how to run a football team. And I was like, okay, that's a little harsh. You know, give the guy, but now he's admitting it. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't have to feel badly anymore.
I'm still not sold, because I remember when Al Davis passed away and Mark Davis went to Wolf because he was saying, I don't know what I'm doing. So he went to Wolf to get advice. Wolf told him about McKenzie. He's known this already. And so that's what I'm saying. I don't know if this is just him, you know, again, just kind of reiterating what not only he said when he first took over the team, but what he's shown in all the decisions he's made. And like I say, and I scratch my head because you have time right now to figure out if Champ Kelly knows how to identify talent, knows what a winning program looks like and needs in a personnel perspective. And if you're not spending that time with him now, and this is still your question, I just got a little it just made me scratch my head. I'm like, well, maybe he's talking about a president, because if you got a guy in that GM seat right now and you're not having some of those conversations that enlightens you about their thought process and enlightens you about what they do know, I mean, then you're wasting time. So I don't know. I don't want to.
Well, also, I think it takes a lot for him to come up and actually say, I didn't know. And maybe now through time and seeing what's going on, he's like, either it was a light bulb moment or he finally have comfortable enough to say, I didn't know. I need help. Sometimes people just don't know what they don't know. And now perhaps he does. So I totally respect that.
Maybe we'll get a VP of football operations or something coming.
Yeah, but you know, here's the thing. Yeah, so I agree with Mother Moon. Like, to me, this is true leadership. This is his first step in true leadership, because I think it takes a lot to admit that you don't know. He's an owner of a football team. That's like a CEO saying, I don't know how to run my company. Or at least I don't know how to run this aspect of my company. And I need to find the talent that does. Like, to me, that is a leader, and that speaks volumes. But Omar, when you said president, I mean, we have a president. We have a fairly new president in Sandra Douglas Morgan. And I don't really think that's her job description.
That's what I'm saying. Of football operations.
Okay.
She's not in charge of football
Right.
operations.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, no. And that's what I say. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Like I said, I just felt we've heard this before. That's just my only thing. My only thing is when he first took over the team, he said some things like this and, went to Ron Wolf, and then that's where the whole.
But maybe it fell on deaf ears. I mean, this is a new time. This is a new era. There's an interim coach, an interim GM. Maybe he's saying, hey, these pieces, you could almost say there's an interim to be debated quarterback. So all these pieces, now maybe he's saying, okay, I see what we were working with. Now let me say it again to reiterate the fact that, hey, we need some help here.
Oh, right. I still haven't learned anything. So I still don't know.
Okay. Then fix it.
Hey, wait, somebody in the chat said Tom Brady is his decision buddy. I'm like, wait a minute. Please don't let this be the guy. I mean.
Oh, no.
Just because you can play great doesn't mean that you can lead great.
Right. Yes, we've learned that.
In that sense.
Half the battle is recognizing the issue. I think he recognizes the issue and he's on his way. So I'm supporting him. Hopefully he's learning.
I'm very interested to see how this played out because he's in the same situation he was with Bisaccia. You know what I mean? And I just love, except for, like I say, whether we go to the playoffs or not, that could be, the fork in the road. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. It'll be interesting if he does if he punts. Go find him a VP of football operation and say, hey, you decide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Like I say, I think we're all rooting on AP and Champ Kelly. We both want to see them do well. So it'll be good, hopefully.
Merry Christmas, BL. Thanks for tuning in. Protect the Shield. Happy holidays, Spicy Moon and Omar. Thank you. What's good, Scotty Waddy Raider One? Merry Christmas to you and your familia as well. Yeah. Salute Nation. Merry Christmas. We're gonna have to take a lot of drinks of Woodson whiskey here after we go through these comments.
Drink through the whole.
Salute Spicy Mother Moon and Omar. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, let's get we're gonna get to the Chiefs and we're gonna get to the playoffs. We're ramping up a little bit here, but let's go into an interesting stat that I saw while we kind of mentioned it. That everyone's a little bit interim or auditioning, if you will, trying out, I guess is a better term for sports. We're not like in a musical play here, but or a dance team. But let's look at the stats from Aiden O'Connell through his first 7 starts. Quarterback Aiden O'Connell has completed 144 of 231 passes, 62.3%. His 62.3 completion percentage is the best mark in Raiders history among quarterbacks in their first 7 starts with the Raiders. The best, can I just read that again? Best mark in Raiders history among starting quarterbacks in the first 7 starts. And there's been some good ones. You see, he's at the top of the list here. I mean, I think Rich Gannon is a fan favorite. He was at 61.2%. Derek Carr, I think people are torn on him, but even then he was tagged as the franchise quarterback and with the team for 9 years with a 61%. And then we're looking at Aiden O'Connell leading everyone, and yet probably most of us think that he is still trying out. What do you think of these? What do you think of this storyline here?
Well, I think I think AP sees something in Aiden O'Connor that we have yet to buy in altogether. So he's doing very well. The stats are great, but there's just something there. I think he's going to bring bigger and better things, perhaps. That's my Christmas wish.
I think it's huge. I mean, look at 3 names on that list. They were veterans when they came to the Raiders.
Yeah.
3 names on that: Carson Palmer, Rich Gannon, Kerry Collins were veterans. They had seasoning by the time they got to the Raiders, and that's their starts. And we're talking about a rookie.
That's true.
huge because the only other rookie on that page was Derek Carr.
That's a good point that I did not, that I kind of overlooked.
That is just huge. So, I mean, here, and look at other teams. I mean, even with this, the whole question is going to be, do we still draft a quarterback? I see something like that, and if that continues, I may draft one, but now guess what? It ain't going to be my first or second pick. Right. I tell you that much. If I got a guy who's growing and look what Max has said about, I said this a couple shows ago. Look what Max has said about this kid. Look how Devontae is treating this kid. Like they see something. They're in there with the guy. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's just a team rah-rah that, boosting up their teammate because they don't have to say anything. You know what I mean? If something was wrong, they may not beat him down, but they might not say, they wouldn't, in my mind, they wouldn't say anything at all. They're just kind of, talk about whatever. And we know Devontae kind of wears his thing on his sleeve. If the game sucked, that's the game, so a lot of people believe in him. You see this stat, and like I say, it's just huge that this kid has this statistic and the comparison has mostly veterans on that list. So I love it. Yeah,
that's a great point. The non-rookie component, like I said, that I overlooked. And to answer your question about the quarterback, first of all, the Raiders certainly need a quarterback. But now the debate is, do they need a starting quarterback? Or to your point, Omar, do we drop down a bit and look at maybe let's get I think the offensive line a little beefed up, or you get a cornerback, something like that.
I mean,
but at the end of the day, the Raiders do at least need another quarterback. If it's not the starter, backup, because Hoyer should never even been on the team.
And a good GM will do that. I mean, let's just take those guys in red across the bay. They gave up 2 first-round picks for who they thought was their guy and end up finding their true guy in the 7th round.
Right.
Because guess what? If you're not that type of GM that's drafting for depth, drafting for potential, that, okay, I'm sure when they saw Purdy, they're like, okay, he could be a backup. You know what I mean? He could be our future backup and may have potential, but they, you know what I mean? The purpose was probably to have a quality backup.
Right. And now Purdy's like the number 1 candidate for MVP.
Yeah.
with potentially the best, like approaching the best record in the league and fighting for a clinched playoff already and fighting for the bye spot.
So if I'm thinking about, if I got an Aiden O'Connell, I'm drafting now to put him in a better position. I'm drafting for depth at that quarterback position. And now I'm attacking the places where I do need a number 1 guy. Cornerback, we need a number 1 guy who we let go of, who was our number 1 guy in Marcus Peters. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, to me, that frees up a whole lot, him playing. And of course, will it maintain? You know what I mean?
Right.
Outside of the W's and the L's, will what we see in him maintain and grow, or does he decline? So you still got 3 games to see that, because it is going to play a huge part in what we do come April.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of growth. So I'm looking forward to see what he could do.
And speaking of, this is just for fun, what every NFL team wants for Christmas. And I actually don't know who made this, All Sports Culture. So right here, the Raiders say a franchise quarterback. Well, if you watched our show last night, it premiered with former Raider Stu, and you can check it out later as well. He thinks we already have it. He thinks we already have it in Aiden O'Connell. Go back and watch that show. He makes a lot of great points. Not that he was trying to sell him, but if you were trying to sell him, I have to admit, I bought into it.
I mean, if you think of your statistic, you think about even, like I said, players, what they think of him. And now if you look at, let's just look at, what is a young quarterback's best friend? The running game. And we know Josh Jacobs ain't putting up the numbers like he did last year. He's just not. He finally started coming about since AP took over. You know what I mean? And he got injured. He didn't play last game, which we just totally still killed it, thank God.
Yeah.
But if you think, once this kid has, let's just say these last 3 games, this consistent running game, I don't see him doing anything but getting better and better. Now, he's still not going to be crowned that franchise quarterback until, you know what I mean? Like I say, we see it in the another off season, and then next year. Right now, he's just the starter. But I definitely think he is pitching a great argument. And if he does still develop a little bit more, he could be our franchise quarterback. Like I say, the only guaranteed thing I see is that we may draft differently now, seeing what he's doing. And I do think it takes some consistency and a little bit of time before you say, even though somebody is crowned the starter, we know that doesn't mean they're your franchise quarterback.
Right. Right. Of course. As a Raiders fan, we know that better than anybody.
Right. So,
the way we've gone through them.
I think he definitely has the potential to be our franchise quarterback. He's shown that. Those stats jumped, like I said, that just jumped all over the place when you put that up for me in regards to, like I say, you think about the people that, we love. Everybody loved Rich Gannon. You know what I mean? That pump fake killing everybody. We loved it. You know what I mean? So, and like I say, these are veteran guys, and he's doing pretty well.
Can I just zoom in on this one really quickly? That's kind of funny. Hold on, wait for it. Right here, the Saints actually rebuild.
Wow.
I'm just saying, that's kind of funny.
Oh man.
Just saying, it's kind of funny. All right, we'll go into some predictions for this upcoming game here. The Chiefs are favored. I think these might be old. I think this was as of 2 days ago, so these might not be exact, but Chiefs were favored. They're favored by 10. The over under is 41.5. And if the Raiders win, they still have a chance to make the playoffs, a very slim chance. And if they lose, they have 0% chance. So let's start with favor. Okay. We're all going to say that we think the Raiders are going to win this game.
Yes.
Okay. We'll go there. Yes. So over under 41.5. What do you think? Were the Raiders winning, a prediction of the Raiders winning?
It has to be over 41.5 points for the Raiders to win, because Kansas City put up 30 on us last game. They're going to score some points. So, it's got to be over 41 total points for us to win. I mean, unless our defense is,
I don't know. I'm hoping for, and I think Mad Max is going to be hungry. Listen, as good as they played last week against the Chargers, and Mad Max was there for every touch, or for every snap. On every snap, he was there to touch, I should say, like he does. But he didn't get a sack. He drooling. Oh,
yeah. And I think a lot of people are drooling. You see now Kuntz is playing. Hell, even Tyree was getting some. They're finding ways to get him good matchups so that he can be effective. So, but I still think we got to score at least 20-something points. That's why I say it's got to be 41. It's got to be over 41 points. I mean, it's great if we can hold Kansas City to 20. If we hold them to 20 and we get 24, like I say, I mean, that's what I see kind of happening. I think our defense will be doing well if they hold them to, 20 points, 17, 20 or whatever. But I still think it would be over 41 points, 41.5 though, for us to win. Hey, I could be wrong and love to see a very ugly defensive game. It is going to be raining, from what I heard.
Is it?
Go the other way and get ugly and be one of those 14-10 type of situations.
I love it. I love those games.
Yeah, and we got Josh Jacobs, so I would love to see that too. But that's the way I would see how that happens, is because the rain, ball's wet, it gets ugly. It's a ground game, ball control. Okay, like I say, you got the musician back there, dude. I can't stand Mahomes in a KC jersey, and I just think he's going to do what he do, and we can do some things to keep the points down, but let's just get the W.
All that I agree.
Right here. I love. Oh, go ahead, Mother Moon. I was going to read Travis's comment. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm saying I agree with all that. I'm excited, not only because it's towards the end of the year, it's also Christmas Day. Everybody's going to be watching. Everyone's going to want to come out and show out and just do their best. It's like a Christmas gift to themselves to get this W. So I'm excited for it.
What do you say, Omar, Mother Moon? Road trip?
Road trip.
Out there in the cold, getting rained on.
That sounds so fun. I miss it.
Yeah.
That sounds like the best day ever.
Man.
Let's just go out to the Odaco and pull up a TV
I
there.
know. Can they just do like a watch party there? Like, can they just put it on the screen and let's go out and freeze and like sit on the field and get wet and slosh around? It sounds amazing. So Travis says, considering they have 3 receivers, and right now we have a better chance to win. Max getting 3 sacks. I love Travis's like optimism.
Wow.
I hope so. Scotty Waddy Raider 1, he predicts Raiders 33-24. That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of
That's
points.
a lot of points.
I like
Hey,
it.
what's good? How about, what does this say?
Chelsea
Kelsey, moon in the crowd of hecklers. Oh, I saw that. I thought that was an old video.
I didn't see. I haven't heard anything
an
about
old
it.
video. Was
No
that not
shit.
an old video?
I have no idea.
I
think it was at
swear.
South Park.
I swear that looked like that was like on the field in Oakland.
Wow.
I don't know if that was an old feed. Anyway, he like bent over, put his pants down like he was adjusting something, and he had his little, underpants, under armor, whatever you call it, under there. Anywho, I thought that was old, but I don't know.
Wow.
It's a 10-point spread. Our defense will make up for that. Hope so. Well, going back to this really quickly, whether it's old or new, I hope the Raiders saw that and they're like, you know what? Let me stick something up that, you know what I'm saying? I hope that motivates them. You want to bend over like that? Shoot, bend over for me then. Give it to them.
They're gonna have that last touchdown. They're gonna have that touchdown. So
Give it to them.
towards him.
It's going to be a close game. I think maybe 30-24. That's a lot of points too.
Yep. I think most people have said it would have to be over 41.5 points. I would love to see an ugly defensive game, though. I ain't gonna lie. Low points. It's just 3 and outs here, field goal. You know what I mean? Like, I would enjoy that, just ugly. So
I just want to win. However it
with a
happens.
dub, of course, with a dub.
Hey, Wild Turkey out there in the area. The weather here in Missouri keeps changing. As of now, 71% rain for tomorrow. Hey, you going to the game, man? Rep hard. If you're going to the game, rep hard. Lucky you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. All right, let's look into this playoff picture. Oh my goodness gracious. There's a lot going on. And believe it or not, it actually got worse for the Raiders. I should say harder for the Raiders, tougher for the Raiders this week than last week because the Jaguars have entered this scenario. So 6 of 8 must happen. And of course, Raiders must win out because if they don't win tomorrow even, there's a 0% chance of the Raiders making the playoffs. And we're going to circle back to this graphic. But if the Raiders do win tomorrow, there is a 1%, I believe, chance of the Raiders making the playoffs. And so, we are going to get into what Mark Davis has to say about the 1% chance of the Raiders making the playoffs.
Definitely there's a chance.
Hey, with that smile, there's definitely a chance.
Definitely a chance. Definitely. But let's go back into these playoff scenarios here and see what has to happen. We need a little help from around the league, of course. And can I just go on a little mini rant here?
Go for it.
Because it's really frustrating for me to see these Raiders fans out there not knowing what to root for. So we see on this graph here, this is as of yesterday. So some of these games have been played, but do you see the Chargers anywhere in the playoff hunt? No, I do not. Okay, so it blows my mind and annoys me the fact that Raiders fans, I'll use the word ignorant, that they are actually wanting the Bills to beat the Chargers. It makes 0 sense. Yeah, they're rivals, but who cares? They're rivals who aren't going to the playoffs. They're rivals who don't have a quarterback. They're rivals that their season's already over. Okay, you know who else this season we need to be over? The Bills. The Bills. So that the Raiders have a chance to actually make the playoffs, and that's one of them. So it irks me so much when I see the Raiders fans not even knowing who to root for or against in this playoff scenario. Here's your cheat sheets right here, everybody. End rant.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just kind of defend these fans a little bit here because there's a part of me that under no circumstances ever wants to see Chargers, Denver, or Kansas City win. They're just not. And it's strong. I mean, the dark side is strong within me on this. And you know what I mean? And I get what you're saying. But it's the Chargers. And I know what you're saying. You're thinking about playoffs. They have no chance. And we need to see the Bills lose. We need to see Steelers lose. We need to see Colts lose. Mainly. We mainly need to see those three. And it's actually, we need to see Colts and Steelers lose more than even the Bills.
Right. But in no scenario do we need to see the Chargers win. Lose.
I get it. And I think, just like me, I'm looking at all these things that need to happen. So when I see Bills versus Chargers, guess what? I know I need so many other things. That dark side of me still comes out, and I want the Chargers to lose because I'm looking at it like, well, fuck, I still need about 20.
So you're rooting for, instead of a 1% chance, you're rooting for like a 0.2% chance because you'd rather the Raiders' stats go down in the playoffs, making the playoffs, than seeing that outcome. That's mind-blowing to me.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just telling you that emotional side. When the emotions kick in, the brain shuts off. And that emotional side is like, screw the Chargers.
Nah, I'm not there. I'm not there even a little bit. My emotional side says whoever has to go down to help the Raiders get into the playoffs. And that's all my emotional side is saying. I don't even care. The Chargers are eliminated with a losing record. To me, I don't get it at all. I can never, ever see a world where that makes sense.
Yeah, and the third and final thing, and which is, a lot of us, hey, we need to win.
Obviously.
It begins and ends. And it began when we lost to the Bills and lost to the Steelers. We dug ourselves a hole. I mean, we could have lost to all the NFC teams we played this season, and it would not have hurt us as bad as losing to the Bills. And because the tiebreaker would go to them. So we need, like I said, because we need so much. And most importantly, we need to win. Like I say, I get it. I focus more on, like I said, and still the Bills won and we still have a chance. But we're looking at that Falcons game like, please beat the Colts.
Sure, but so much needs to happen. So much needs to happen where it's already almost impossible. Why root for even more impossible? Why make it harder? Because I'm not understanding why we're at the end of the day, we're basically rooting for the Raiders' path to the playoffs being harder.
But you're being extremely rational. You're, like I say, yes, and I appreciate the rational mind. Trust me. Rational thought is everything to me. But hey, like I say, emotions start kicking in and screw the Chargers. It's like gut instinct. It's like it is. So anyway, I love our fans out there, and I get it.
Hysterical.
Well, I mean, okay. I guess agree to disagree. I just look at this. I don't even care. These could be little emojis over here. I don't even care. All I see is must lose two games. I don't really even care who's over there. I just want those things to happen so the Raiders have a better chance. That's all. But anywho. So let's go into this a little bit.
I think at some level, all those folks who were rooting on the Chargers to beat the Bills, you know what I mean? I think it's all rational. The guys who want Bills to beat the Chargers, it's all emotional. But I think one thing, like we were saying, we got to win. We got to win.
For sure.
And it's going to come down to week 17 and 8. We win tomorrow, it's still going to go. It resets that whole playoff calculator. I was looking at that thing this morning. It was like 100 and something thousand different combinations of how we
Okay, well, listen, this whole topic, we're talking about it because it's something to talk about. But at the end of the day, listen, I think in the AFC, as of yesterday, there's only 4 teams that have been eliminated. As of the day before, there was only 3 teams that have been eliminated, and as of last week, there were only 2 teams that have been eliminated. So we're literally talking about everyone almost in the AFC having a 1%, 2%, 5% chance of making the playoffs. So the discussion is almost kind of neither here nor there, and that's why honestly, I don't even really want to talk about it, because it's just like, okay, 2 teams, now 4 teams have been eliminated, so almost everybody has a chance. And there's this graph for every other team that's remaining. You know what I mean? So it's like
a scenario that we could win the division, but it requires Kansas City to lose these last 3 games. I was like, wow.
Right.
Like, talking about there's still a chance.
Honestly, the Broncos might mess around and win the division.
And I think, again, it requires for Kansas City to lose out.
So anyway, if you're watching and you want to save this, if you want to follow along, some of these games have already happened. Of course, like I said, the Jags have entered the party, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. I mean, at the end of the day, you can take all of this away and really just look at the Raiders. Must win 3 games, must win 1 just to stay in, and that right there, I think, is the toughest of all.
We got this.
All right. Our playoff, it starts tomorrow. It does. It starts tomorrow. Shoot.
We got to win.
Definitely. I think we will. Then we'll be talking about now what? Now, when that percentage goes up, now what? You know what I mean? It also starts today, I think, with the Colts. We need the Colts to lose. And I know that's a game that we all agree on. We're all Falcon fans today.
Well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know what? We're going to need, I think the biggest contributor to helping the Raiders is going to be the Titans. I mean, the Titans beating the Jags, the Titans beating the Texans.
Yep.
Next, like you said, Omar, we're looking at the Colts.
Yeah.
The Colts are obviously the Raiders have to play the Colts, plus they're playing the Texans.
And let's hope the Ravens don't rest their starters, because that one loss in Week 18 against the Steelers could, if we went out, could be the pivotal game. It could literally all come down to that Ravens Steeler matchup in Week 18 for us. If we went out.
That's a lot. That's a lot of ifs.
Right. If ifs were fifths, we all be drunk, right?
There you go. Merry Christmas.
Omar, optimistic Omar.
Hey, seriously,
Is he optimistic or unrealistic?
Well, here we go. Realistically, I want us to win out no matter what's happening.
On the other side. Of course. That's a given.
I do. I think whether we make it to the playoffs, if we keep the momentum we got right now, you know what I mean, it's going to say a lot for AP and give us a lot, you know what I mean, of momentum going into the offseason. And I think that's the most realistic thing we can really, really hope for. And of course, I'm still going to be rooting for the Falcons today. You know what I mean? If we get down to that one game against the Steelers, I would love that. I ain't going to lie. I would love that. I'd almost, want to go to that game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, Travis says we need to pay the refs off. Well, let's do a GoFundMe. It might work.
Man. Right? Someone said that. I had me cracking up. I forgot what game it was. Oh, I think it was against the Jets. Someone was saying, because we had, which is, you know what? And I think we should save this one for another show. Is that, have you guys read the article that we have some of the fewest penalties in the league?
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
I had to read that like 3 times. Like, that's some bull. That's BS.
Yeah.
They used to
that's
make
new.
I thought the same thing. So come on now.
Right? I'm like, that's a whole nother show. Yeah.
That's certainly something that the Raiders aren't used to, being in that stat line. That's for sure.
I didn't even know how to handle that as a fan. I'm like, are you kidding us? Really? I'm like, they made up flags and rules for us. So that was, a bit of a shocker.
Scotty Waddy Raider 1 says, nobody wants a moral victory, but with a 1% chance, I think winning 2 of 3 is huge for the team, for AP, for AOC, and for the players deciding to leave or stay. I think that's a great comment, Scotty Waddy. Yeah, I think these games mean nobody wants a moral victory, but you're kind of saying you do as well. Or that's how I'm reading it. Or I'll say that's my opinion, because even if the Raiders don't make the playoffs, because there is a very slim chance, that does mean a lot. If AOC and AP can prove to beat the Chiefs, it can beat the Chiefs and prove that, that they can beat the best in the division, Super Bowl champs. I mean, how as an organization do you say, okay, we actually want to get rid of these guys and start again with no consistency, that type of thing?
It was a whole
for the team. That's morale. That's in the locker room. And for the players deciding to leave or stay, I think this says a lot. And I think this to Omar, you brought up, I think it was Omar, you brought up Bisaccia earlier. What does it say to players and coaches when you could come out with good results and still get fired? You know what I mean? Or be show that you're improving and still get fired. And then again, there's no consistency. So I think this is a great statement. What do either of you think?
I read a whole article that basically said if AP wins tomorrow, he's got the job. That is,
I heard that too.
That's the statement that would get Mark Davis's, it would just check. We saw how Mark Davis was acting when we blew out the Chargers. Dude couldn't even believe what he was seeing.
Well, I couldn't believe it either.
The reaction from Mark Davis was like, oh my God. I was like, he had all these waters. I thought he was going to have a heart attack up there or some shit.
He was like Home Alone.
So, exactly. That's exactly what he looked like.
Right?
This is the final interview for AP, the final working interview, let's just say. If he beats Kansas City, most people think that's the final box. He's got the job. So and I hope it happens.
Okay, with that said, though, so does that you think that goes the same for AOC?
I think AOC has to show consistency. Like I said, you got the starting job, but to be a franchise quarterback, you got to show consistency, and you got to show that, especially being young, being a franchise quarterback means you're, from what I hear, he's showing all the attributes of a franchise quarterback. First in, last out, leadership, all those things we've heard team players talk about. But now on the field, you got to be consistent. And to me, that's the only thing we haven't seen out of him is consistency. Now, is it O-line? Is it the shaky running game that has now blossomed late in the season? We don't know, but I think that's going to be the thing they need to see. I think, like I say, if he stays consistent, it does take that need for the first round pick to be a QB off the table. I still think we need to draft for depth at the QB position because look, Garoppolo's not going to be there. Hoyer, yeah. So we're still going to draft a quarterback next year. It's just AOC is going to show us where we need to draft him.
So Stu was Stu was on the show. We premiered it last night. If you didn't watch it, circle back. But he made a great point in saying, we're judging these guys too harshly in the terms of he's had 6 games. So are we really basing his entire career, his starting job for next year off 6 games? And Stu was saying he just doesn't think that's fair. And, he made some good points. How many seasons did it take someone like Peyton Manning to start being a winner? And, he didn't go back and watch it, but he named a bunch of quarterbacks. So, are we being too hard on this kid saying, oh, well, we need you to win out? That's a huge task for anybody in the NFL. And we're talking about a quarterback who starts 6 games.
No,
so
I didn't say win out.
Does that mean, we're going to go and fire him? Or do we say, you know what? We see consistency in you. We see that you have good pass ratings. The guys in the locker room like you, believe in you. Your coach believes in you. So let's give him a season.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, remember what I said? This wasn't when I was talking about AOC. I said it's not about the wins and losses because of these where that stat comes from. There was losses in those games where he got that 62%. So that's not what it is. You know what I mean? Like I say, you're right. How much time he's going to get, that's something that is going to be the decision of the coach. And what, in my mind, just like that same pressure everyone is under. You know what I mean? I think it's even more so for first round picks, though. They put a lot of money, they invest that pick. So, yeah, maybe those guys, unfortunately, may get more time than others because of he was a fourth round pick. But look at how he's performing. Now, like I say, we still know that no matter if you're in the first round or whatever round, to be the franchise quarterback, not the starting quarterback, there needs to be a body of work that makes you a franchise quarterback, no matter how they got you, whether it's free agency.
Sure, but that's never going to happen in 6 games or even a season and a half for anybody.
So when I'm talking about still wanting to see some stuff, that's what I'm talking about. He's got a starting job right now. To me, all he's going to show us is how high we need to draft another quarterback, because we know we got to draft one. It's just how high. That's what he's going to show us. We are not going to see whether he's the franchise quarterback this season. We're not.
Of course not. No, we're not going to see that in the next probably 2 seasons. Next season, not even. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. I think Walt here has a little difference of opinion. Make no mistake, our Raiders need to take advantage of all possible coaches, QBs in the draft 2024. And I think, and Mother Moon Omar, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this panel is actually saying the opposite. Let's give these guys, these coaches, this coach, this GM, this quarterback a crack at next season. As of right now, for several reasons, consistency, and they've really proven. Well, with the exception of Champ, hasn't had a chance to prove himself. But with AP and AOC, have really kind of proven that maybe they can do something here.
Yeah, especially if we think about. I agree. If we think about like I said, let's just say everything is solid. And here's a question mark outside of AP and AOC is the offensive coordinator, the offensive system. Like, no one wants to even understand the fact that we got a rookie that not only did McDaniels get fired, but our offensive coordinator got fired. And then this kid who's had no experience as being a coordinator and a play caller jumped in. Like I said, and we still got a kid who's putting up better percentage than some veterans.
Right.
So, like I say, in my mind, like I say, he is just proving the case to me that we just need to draft for depth at the QB position. You know what I mean? And I do think we may need to take a look at an offensive coordinator that has his own book, his own plan. And Penix, I think he'll be there in the second round.
All right, so what was follow up with? Okay, we'll follow up with Walt. General Manager Walt thinks Penix will be there at our first pick.
Oh, he would be there for the first pick, but I think he would be there for a second pick too.
I know.
But I don't. Like I say, we'll come back to this after the season, and then we can make an argument for how high. Because, like I say, do we need to draft a quarterback? Sure, but where? Right? You know, like I say, I'm going to say if AOC is just consistent where he is, I'm thinking, third round and back. Easily in my mind, because like I say, the stats are looking good. Some of the throws he's made, this kid has put him between the numbers with velocity, with distance. I liked what I've seen. No, he's not mobile. And I bet we all wish he could move around a little bit more. And can he? Like I said, I just think.
I'm telling you, y'all need to go watch the Stu interview last night. Stu had a great point on this. He even stood up and gave us a demonstration. His point was there's a difference between a mobile quarterback and a running quarterback. Yeah. So AOC and as mobile in the fact that he can move around, he's not going to run. He's not, he's not a what's the Ravens guy? Ravens quarterback.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Now you made me brain fart, but I'm from Kentucky. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna brain fart away.
Totally brain fart. Anywho, besides the point. And this was his second point to that. How many running quarterbacks have won Super Bowls? He goes, look at Tom Brady, look at Peyton Manning. These guys aren't known as being mobile. These are Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. As long as mobile means be able to move around the pocket, not necessarily be a running quarterback. So like I said, I got a lot of education from Stu, hearing him, being a player, being in the locker room, being on that field. His point of view means so much to me. As a fan, we can
those
watch
who don't know who he is.
Lamar Jackson, thank you.
Don't know who he is.
Jackson, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, he was. He was a player. He has a lot of knowledge. I totally respect his opinion.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, it's good. And I think, I don't know if Sunshine Bug's still in here. She was speaking of, I know she wanted to kind of have an avenue to where to kind of learn the game. Stu was mentioning that I think he's thinking of starting a show. Huh?
Is it on a down low what he's going to do?
Well, he said it live on our show, so I don't think it could be on the down low.
Excuse me, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, so he wants to do a show that is kind of like inside like the football player's mind, the IQ of how football is played from from a player's perspective, and that's a really good way to learn the game. And I say that because I know we've had some comments about really wanting to learn the game here from someone who didn't grow up watching it. So check out Stu's channel; it's awesome. But yes, Lamar Jackson, we all brain farted on that one.
Right.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to put up Scotty's here. I don't think the rest of the season matters. AP should get at least a season. I agree with that. He got thrown into a mess and changed the locker room. Totally did. And changed it for the better. Good vibes. Bisaccia lost 3 games to start 2, and we wanted him. I wanted Bisaccia to stay. I didn't actually want him to stay as a head coach, but I think the locker room stuff really does matter here. Oh, yeah. And I think he does deserve a shot. And I think all we really want is consistency at this point. And speaking of being thrown into a mess, Aiden O'Connell came in as, a backup. And if you look at these guys, how many reps they get as a backup, it's not very many. So when he was called upon to be a starter, he wasn't getting the reps that like a starting quarterback would get. Anyway, even in practice, and everyone knows there's no, you can't simulate practice in real games. So, it seems like he was confused at first. It seems like, he started behind the 8 ball. Let's not lie. And then he seems to be doing okay. He's still a lot of room for improvement, but
Definitely.
Yeah, and I don't think we could start over either. I am all in for AP for next season. It was difficult for me to see the players come out deflated. Like, you just could see they didn't like being there time. But, now it's like they're ready. They're ready.
What's that? What's happening?
That was my uncle. I'm like, my uncle's in the house. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, Mom. I just got excited.
Subscribe and like that torch. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. All right, before we head out here, because I know the Saturday, or what day is it? It's Saturday. Is it Saturday or Sunday? I don't even know. Anyway, Christmas Eve games are about to start soon, so we're going to head out here. Any final thoughts, Mother Moon, Omar, before we head out?
I'll go ahead and just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy, safe New Year coming up. Travel safely, hug your family, and just, appreciate your time with everyone and enjoy the win.
Woo!
Definitely.
Omar?
Just, of course, Merry Christmas, everyone. To my extended Raider Nation family, much love to you guys. The people that's supporting us, thank you. 3,000 of you guys strong. It's definitely an honor that you got, that type of connection with folks. And, let's just shut down Travis Kelce. Defense run wild. Keep Mahomes in check, and let's just win, baby, and have fun. I love that AP has been pointing out how guys are out there playing and having fun. He was just talking about Renfro the other day. They need more of that, more love, more, you know what I mean? And I think he's giving it to them. I think he's bringing something a lot, that this team is needed, man. Not just the X's and O's, the culture. I damn sure hope we stay put with AP. And tomorrow is his, this is his big audition. I read that article and I believe it. So I'm rooting hard for a W tomorrow, man. So
There you go. Yes. All right. We go out one way and only one way. Raiders!